I want you to picture this. You're watching an action movie, soldiers in the field, radios crackling, bullets flying. The commander shouts an order through the static, and the soldier on the other end says two words. Roger that, not got it, not understood, not even yes sir, roger that. You've heard it 1,000 times. Movies, TV shows, real news footage, pilots landing planes, astronauts in orbit, emergency responders on the radio. They all say it, every single time. But here's what's strange. Nobody's name is Roger. Nobody's asking about Roger. So why is everyone saying Roger? And here's the part that'll really get you. At some point, the military actually banned the word Roger, yet people still say it today. Turns out there's a brilliant reason, and it goes all the way back to one of the most desperate communication problems in human history. Today, we're uncovering where Roger that actually came from, how a single letter of the alphabet changed the way humans talk forever, and why the word Roger literally saved lives. But before we dive in, welcome back to We Knew That. If you're new here, this is the channel where everyday words, objects, and habits turn out to have jaw-dropping stories behind them. Hit that subscribe button right now, because We Knew That drops mind-blowing discoveries like this every single week. Right? Let's go, because this one gets wild fast. To understand why people say Roger that, we first have to look at the absolute chaos of early radio communication. We're talking World War II era, maybe even earlier. Now imagine this. You're a pilot, mid-flight, enemy territory. Your radio crackles to life and your commander gives you a critical order. But the signal is broken, distorted. You catch maybe half the words. Did you get the full message? Did he? You have no way to confirm. Back then, early radio technology was horrifying. Static so bad you could barely make out a voice. Interference from weather, from other signals, from enemy jamming. And the stakes? Missing one word could mean flying into the wrong coordinates, dropping bombs on the wrong target, flying straight into a wall of enemy fire. Imagine trying to run a war, a global war, with a phone that sounds like it's underwater. Something had to change, fast. The answer wasn't better radio technology. It was a better language to use on the radio. Step 1. The first innovation. Here's what the military realized. Short, one-syllable words over a bad radio signal? Almost impossible to understand. Think about it. Yes and no. Over a broken signal, those sound almost identical. S sounds blur. N sounds dropout. If a pilot hears go when the command was no, that's a catastrophe. So in the early days of radio communication, they created something called the phonetic alphabet. Every letter gets a full word. A becomes able. B becomes Baker. C becomes Charlie. Think of it like this. Shouting single letters across a noisy stadium is useless, but shout full words. And suddenly, people can understand you even through the noise. That's the logic. Replace every letter with a word that sounds totally unique. No confusion, no misfire. Step 2. Enter Roger. So here's where Roger comes in, and this is the mind-blowing part. R, the letter R, was given the code word Roger in the World War II phonetic alphabet. Roger literally stood for the letter R, and R, in radio communication shorthand, already meant one specific thing: received. Pilots and operators had been using the shorthand R for years to confirm they got the message. So when the phonetic alphabet turned R into Roger, saying Roger now meant exactly the same thing. Message received. It wasn't someone's name. It wasn't random slang. It was the most efficient, crystal clear way to say, I got it. I heard you. Loud and clear. So if Roger means received, why do we say Roger that? Great question. That was added for emphasis and clarity over noisy signals. Roger that equals I received that specific message. No ambiguity, clean confirmation every time. Step 3. The ban, and why it survived anyway. Here's where it gets even more interesting. In 1956, NATO overhauled the phonetic alphabet. Roger got replaced. The letter R was now Romeo. Officially, Roger was out. But you know what? The word was already everywhere. Pilots used it. Soldiers used it. Emergency services used it. It had been drilled into an entire generation of radio operators. You can't just ban a word that works that well. And here's the money angle. Militaries and aviation authorities actually kept Roger in training manuals and procedures for decades after the switch. Why? Because replacing it entirely would have cost massive retraining budgets. New procedures, new protocols, Potential for deadly confusion during the transition. It was cheaper and safer to let Roger coexist with Romeo. And then Hollywood got hold of it. Every war film, every cop show, every action thriller. Roger that became the sound of authority, of competence, of someone who knows what they're doing. Which brings us to today. Gamers say it, kids say it, you've probably said it. Not because you're in the military, but because your brain heard it so many times, it became the natural way to say, I understand. Language is wild like that. So next time you hear someone say, Roger that, don't think of it as a random phrase from an old movie. You're actually hearing the echo of a desperate wartime solution, a moment when humanity needed to communicate perfectly under pressure, and built a whole new language to do it. Roger isn't a name, it's a letter that meant received, a letter that became a word that outlived the alphabet it came from. And somehow, 80 years later, it's still the clearest way to say, I got you. That is not an accident. That is brilliant, battle-tested communication design. And that moment when it all clicks? Now we knew. If this changed how you hear Roger that forever, smash that like button. It seriously helps. Subscribe to We Knew That for more everyday words and objects with extraordinary secrets hiding inside them. Drop a comment with We Knew That and tell us what word, phrase, or object you want us to investigate next. New discoveries every week. See you in the next one.
Roger, Roger.